Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Michelle, and today we have Deshaun on the show, who's selling his business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Deshaun, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. And thanks for making the time to come on today. Before we dive into the details, let's go over a brief summary of your business. It's an Amazon FBA business in the sports niche created in November 2016. The average revenue for the business is $67,103 per month, and it makes an average of $19,034 per month in net profit. Included in this sale is an Amazon Seller Central account with 110 SKUs, a domain and all site content and files, supplier relationships, social media accounts for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, trademarks, and an email list with 11,000 subscribers. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 57542 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So, Deshaun, now let's hear from you. What can you tell us about your background in building and running an online business?
I can give you my background. Let's start there. I just went to USC. Was a full ride athlete, got into entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship just seemed to be my path. So I found the product and I just kind of all bootstrapped it at first. It was like before we even got on Amazon, we just bootstrapped the product. Then we initially took the product from a bootstrap to Shopify and then some other platforms like Amazon. And then it's been a really good ride for us.
So is this the first business that you've built then?
It's the first product business. In college, I had an entertainment company. I was kind of like the Van Wilder of USC.
All right. Okay, so what made you choose this niche? Was it because you were an athlete and you just had an interest in this sports product?
Yeah, it kind of grew because, turn a long story into a short story, but Reggie Bush is one of my best friends. And then when he was at USC with me, he had a product, 619 based product, and it stuck in my head a lot. So just thinking about him and the success of that, I just always thought like, okay, if I was able to bring a product, these are some ideals of what I would do with it. And like, this is what I could do with it as far as like long-term, the vision of it.
That's a really cool story. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that come through one of these seller interviews before. So could you explain to us then how your business makes money? Like, are you solely Amazon FBA or are you selling on other platforms? Is it a mix?
It is a mix, but we've actually shifted the business to be more seller friendly. Like 95% of our business is Amazon, as opposed to in the years before we were on Shopify and we actually did tournaments, like on the ground sales, bootstrapping tournaments. But we got away from that model specifically to potentially for a seller to come in. It'd be more seller friendly than kind of having to go to tournaments all over the country and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense then why you were saying that you bootstrapped the company. That's really cool. Then you chose to go with the Amazon FBA model because it was more hands-off for you.
Twofold. It was more hands-off. I started looking at evaluating my time, the time that I was spent out in the field as opposed to setting up and really using that time and energy into growing our Amazon platform. It made more sense from a time standpoint.
Yeah, it definitely does. That's an excellent point to bring up. So, you've built this very successful business. You've had it for several years now. So why have you decided to sell it now?
I'm a big believer in faith and achieving a vision. So like when I initially started this company, something inside me told me I got the vision internally to build this brand, but the vision didn't tell me to like grow it to be this crazy, enormous thing, which it could be. It told me to get it to a certain point sell it and move it into commercial real or not commercial real estate, but the faith told me to move it into real estate, which is what I've done. I've been building a real estate portfolio on top of this. And the thing is with the business, I can continue to grow it and it will continue to grow because it's only at the beginning stage of where it could be. But I just felt internally that same voice that told me to start it is telling me to move on. So it's just kind of listening to that internal voice inside of me.
That's really cool. So you're moving away from online business then. Do you think that you'll get back into it at some point in the future?
I think I'll get into some type of business in Amazon down the road, but real estate is my passion. Amazon has been a great vehicle. I may do another business that's not in this lane just because I was successful at it, but real estate's going to be my passion where a majority of my energy and time.
Well, I'm really happy that you've managed to get to this point where you're going to be able to use this capital to fund something that you're really, really passionate about. So is there anything that you've learned from this business that you will apply to future sites or businesses?
Yeah, just the initial strategy and the growth model of Amazon is a beast. So me looking back at my process, if I would have started on Amazon and continued to grow on Amazon instead of really using the other platforms, it could have been way bigger at this stage if I would have focused on it. So moving forward, majority of my focus is going to be on real estate. But if I do create another brand, I will focus primarily on the Amazon space.
And while you were working on this business, was there anything that you tried in terms of, let's say, maybe marketing that just didn't work the way that you thought that it would? Or have you been pretty successful with most of the things that you've tried with it?
See, now that's a long story because I'm literally the type of person, especially if you don't know a formula, I try to throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. So I tried a lot of stuff. I'll ask you if you want me to get more detailed on that, but I tried a lot of things that didn't work. But that's entrepreneur. Anybody that's an entrepreneur knows that you kind of have to try a million things to find that one door that actually works.
Yeah, exactly. Well, is there anything that sticks out in your mind as something that worked particularly well for you?
The Amazon platform, as far as the marketing, the tools that they have and getting the placement, because the product sells itself. So as long as the kids and the parents can see the product on their selection, like they'll choose our product 9 out of 10 times over any other product. They just need to see it. So that was a huge thing Amazon allows you to do. It gives you that visibility.
Well, it sounds like you have a really strong brand. So let me ask you, where does the majority of your traffic come from?
We get a lot of our Amazon traffic. There's a lot of Amazon traffic. And like I was saying, with the Amazon tools and the strategies you can use, we use a lot of the Amazon strategies and the Amazon tools to help us get that placement.
So are you using PPC advertising then?
We don't use that much PPC advertisement.
Okay. And so are you doing anything else then currently in terms of marketing other than using those tools available on Amazon?
Yeah, we use some proprietary things that we use to get our brand out there. But those are just things that allow us to be a little bit more competitive or just be out in front of the competition.
Wow, that's interesting. I think that would be interest to a lot of people. Could set up a call with you if they were interested in unlocking your business and possibly discussing that further. So if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
Actually, I would continue to do what we're doing because the brand is strong and we've grown year over year. So just make sure that we have enough inventory in stock, because inventory by itself, we probably lost over $100,000 just because of shipment overseas, the water freight. We had a freight that was stuck on the water for 2 months in our prime season. So just making sure that we order enough product early, have it here for the season, and then we're actually going to order surplus just to make sure that nothing like last year happens again. And then just analyze the market and see what other, I can't think of the right word for it, but it's supplemental products that would go well with our brand.
Well, I'm really glad that you mentioned the stock out issue, because I was wondering if you could just run us through quickly the process that you use to get your inventory to Amazon.
Okay, so there's 2 ways. We normally either send it via water or via air from our manufacturer overseas. Water is the least expensive, so it's most ideal, but with the backup on the water, it's not an option sometimes in this current environment. So sometimes we have to air ship it over here, and then it goes into my warehouse. I have a warehouse here in San Diego, And from that warehouse, depending on what we need, I send it in to Amazon.
So you're not using like a 3PL or anything. You've got your own warehouse. So then do you physically send in the inventory to FBA?
Correct. I physically do it. But this would be this would be an opportunity for somebody that was already either doing Amazon businesses or already had a product that already had a 3PL, because it's easy for them to just plug in our product to what they currently already have.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an optimal way to streamline a process too that someone could do right off the bat. Could you describe the amount and type of work other than sending in the inventory that you are doing on the business currently?
That's mainly it. Mainly sending the inventory for Amazon. And then I do some looking at the ACOS and like looking at some of the numbers as far as where we're advertising and just kind of like what cost per acquisition is. Well, that's our ACOS, and just looking for different keywords that we could capitalize on.
And do you think that a potential buyer would need any special skills, or if there are any requirements that they would need if they were not familiar with your niche?
No, I mean, even if they weren't familiar with the space, they could look at what we've currently done and just continue to do that, and it would be profitable and would continue to profitable and continue to grow because we've got some organic placement we've been doing really well at.
And so what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of, aside from the potential to have stock out issues, which you're addressing?
Yeah, the stock out issue is probably the biggest. The other is you could get sucked in time wise because our product, it's a fun product. It's a fun product and it touches a demographic, especially if you have young sons, athletic sons. There's opportunity for you to like really, really do this product with them. Like there's the Amazon portion of it, but then there's a portion of this where you can touch nationally. Trying to think of the best way to say it, but you could really spend a lot of time touching some of the people that we touch because our product not only is on Amazon, but it's on national television. So if depending on how you are athletically and your kids are athletically and how you want to be involved, you could spend a lot of time getting the product out there in a way that you couldn't do with a lot of other products.
I see what you're saying about it being a potential risk because you could end up with more time involvement than you had intended. But, if you're having fun out there, then maybe not so much of a downside.
Exactly.
So would you be willing to commit to a non-compete for a new buyer?
Yeah, for sure. It's not a problem at all.
We had already discussed that right now you're not interested in, at this time, re-entering the online business space anyway. So that works out quite well. And how much support are you offering buyers?
I'm open to, I think I put on there for the first 2 months of just calls and kind of just plug into me as far as ideals on the vision and integration and advertising and inventory. But I'm open to listening to what a buyer may need.
And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
I'm open to listening to it.
That's fair. And before we wrap up, if you're putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
I think it's a business worth buying, especially if you're have an athletic background, athletic bone, went to college, love athletics, have kids, especially young boys or boys. It's a product it's profitable, but also is a fun brand. I mean, you can make money, you can show your kids, but also you can touch people on the television that you normally wouldn't be able to touch normally.
Well, it does sound like a really fun business. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that we might not have covered?
No, I just want to stress on the importance of the faith. If I had to put a name or on this process, it has to be listening to that faith, listening to that spirit that's telling you what to do, it's guiding you. So if there's something that's telling you to take it to the next level as far as interacting with me, I'd say listen, whatever that is. But I don't know. There's something about my journey and listening to that voice is inside of you. Maybe it's a voice of somebody that's something bigger, but it's just listening to your internal faith.
Well, it certainly seemed to have guided you well so far.
Correct.
Well, thank you for coming on today, Deshaun. It's been a pleasure to learn more about you and your business.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 57542. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.